Mula sa kabisera ng Inglaterra, sa puso ng Britanya, London, UK. London, UK. Ito ang Channel Philippines Network, Pinoy Radio UK. Pinoy Radio UK. Sumasahing papawid 24 oras. 24 oras. Buong linggo. Sa www.pinoyradiouk.com. Ang mga pinakapaborito mga awitin, mga pinakaabangang programa, at mga sariwang balita at impormasyon mula at para sa mga kababayang Pilipino sa UK at sa buong mundo. Pinoy Radio UK. Pinoy Radio UK.
Okay, nako, magandang hapon ho. Happy Tuesday ho sa inyong lahat. Welcome ho sa ating program. Ako po si SONNY Laragan dito po sa Legal Advice Corner. Pag narinig ko yung music na yun, talagang wow. Nakatuwa, no? Parang ayan na, no? Parang it perks you up. Anyway, na-miss ko kayo last week, no? Nagka-miss-missan ho tayo at inabot ho kasi ng ng tawag ito, stomach flu o bug. Yung ating kaming lahat, no? Bale 4-5 pati si Snooki tinamaan din ng stomach flu or stomach bug. But anyway, hopefully okay na ho tayo at naging hindi magandang panahon itong mga nakaraang araw. Sana ay okay kayo at hindi kayo nagkasakit, no? Ingat lang ho. Kami medyo nabasa, no? Nagkaroon kami ng biglaang little camping na ginawa because naka-schedule na ho towards the weekend. Pero hindi ho kami totally, it was a fun experience pero hindi kami totally nag-enjoy dahil yung ulan spoiled it all, no? Anyway, it's a happy Tuesday at excited na naman ako dahil syempre makakasama na naman natin yung brains and beauty, no? Kaka-proud, no? Proud Pinoy moment for a Filipina to be on top, to be at the helm of her law firm, no? Kumbaga, through the ranks yan. Siya ho ang managing partner po ng DV Solicitors at siya po ang kasama natin since the time na tayo pong lahat ay nakakulong, no? Dahil meron tayong ano pangalan nun, na yung nasa bahay tayo noon dahil nga sa pandemic, isolation, may mga hindi isolation, basta nasa ano ho tayo, no? Anong panahon na yun, nakasama natin ever since that time until lumuwag na, until ngayon, no? So nag-enjoy tayo dahil every week it's learning time, ika nga. So, hindi ko na patatagalin yung ating intro, no? Pakilala na ho natin yung pinakamamahal nating abogada, no? Brains and Beauty, the managing partner po ng Deo Valente Solicitors. Mga kaibigan, ang pinakamamahal natin, the one and only Attorney Dana Quinto. Attorney, magandang hapon, happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, Mr. Laragan. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Tuloy po kayo. Welcome back. Remote social bubble, pero hindi na remote. Kasi hindi na tayo naka-quarantine. Dahil natapos na rin after how many years na nag-online lang tayo. Yun ang simula natin, Mr. Laragan. Glad to see na nakabalik na si Mr. Laragan. Safe and well. I'm sorry to hear may mga uso na naman ang mga trangkaso ngayon, stomach flu,
yes, so
hay fever, may mga COVID na it who must not be named. May mga naririnig pa rin ako na COVID. Dapat di na sinasabi yung baka para bumalik pa eh. But yes, as you can see, maliwanag pa rin dito sa United Kingdom, 20 degrees Celsius. Paiba-iba kaya maraming maraming nagkakasakit kasi yes, a couple of days ago it was raining and then now it's
Mhm.
sunny and then it'll probably rain again. Ika nga namin, welcome to the English weather.
Tama, tama. At saka we have to maximize the summer. Attorney, it comes only once every year. So, 'di ba? Yan ang time na kumbaga parang it talks of parang yung mga fun, yung activities, no? Although you can do them even in springtime at saka autumn, pero iba ang summer talaga, 'di ba? Yan ang mga activities, concerts left and right. Maraming mga events na nangyayari kapag summer. So, we have to maximize. Bago tayo magkakasakit, nowadays, ang ginagawa ko ngayon, hindi na traveling to a place. I'd love to go to events na kunyari may show dito, may event doon, may ganun ang aking iniisip na. Hindi na yung, di ba, pupunta tayo sa isang lugar, we try to explore it. Fine, di ba?
Yes.
So ngayon, hindi na tayo ganun. Tapos na tayo ng ganung stage. Kaya, sana, tama yung sinabi mo, no? Huwag sana tayong magkasakit sana, no? Talagang, sayang na spoil na yung ating summer. Anything lined up, attorney, for summer? Ano bang, nabis kita, pagka 2 weeks tayo hindi nakita, last week, wala, pero the week before, no, nakita yata tayo, no? So, yeah.
Yeah.
Narinig ko lang yung music, natutuwa na ako, pasayaw na ako.
Nakaka-induct, ayun ang sinasabi natin, nakaka-induct, yes. Mga as you said, daming this is the time to get out there and see people, do activities. Siguro yun ang mostly sa summer is just trying to see as much of our friends as possible. Kasi, and sports, ang daming mga sports na nangyayari kasi last Friday, Friday ba yun? Sunday pala yun, Sunday. Talking about sports, women's World Cup sa football. Although hindi naman nanalo ang Pilipinas, hindi tayo nag-proceed sa knockout stages. Maganda, napaka-inspiring.
Norway yata, di ba natalo sa Norway?
Natalo talaga sa Norway. But nakaka-ano.
Nil yata, 6-0 yata sa di ba? Tama ba? 6-0? Pero doon sa New Zealand, no?
Yeah, pero nanalo sila sa New Zealand and it's very daming Pilipino. And then daming Pilipino sa New Zealand. Friend ko nanood siya, andyan siya, yung friend ko. Saya. Ako, it's very inspiring.
2 of my strange daughters are living in New Zealand.
Sa New Zealand ko? Okay. So,
nag-freeze yata ako. Direct, nag-freeze ba ako? Teka muna, attorney, hintayin mo lang. Nag-freeze lang kasi ako. Bumalik na naman tong ating freezing time, no? Hindi ito nag-freeze nung kagabi, no? Oo, yeah. Meron akong dalawang dyan. Hopefully, nanood yung dalawa kong aking daughters dyan sa New Zealand. Hi! Dea and Victoria Joy. Ayan, mabuhay kayo, ha?
Mabuhay po kayo. And ngayon, nanalo naman, go England. Siyempre, matapos tayo mag-go Philippines. Tapos wala nang Philippines. Go England naman tayo.
Yes.
England against China. 6-1. 6 for England, 1 for China. Very, very strong.
Ang coach ba, ano ba coach natin? Anong lahi ng coach natin? Dito sa England?
Netherlands. Netherlands. But si Serena. Netherlands ata. Siya yung nakapanalo ng Euro. Siya yung coach natin last year. Nung nanalo yung mga Lionesses. Yun ang tawag sa mga players dito na babae sa football. Mga Lionesses, nanalo sila last year. So, talagang, ngayon, yung mga underdog na nanalo, yung mga yung dating malalakas, hindi na nanalo. Hindi ako football fanatic beforehand, but I think this is the first time, I think worldwide na nagkakaroon din ng recognition ng women's football because it's very inspiring. Makikita mo yung mga stories nila. Meron doon, alam mo, Mr. Laragan, sino ba yun yung nabasa ko from, I don't know which country. Nag-professional siya ng 14 and then she beat cancer at 16. Professional football, 14, but nagkaroon siya ng cancer at 16, but she beat it after 6 months and naka-goal siya. Si Luz, I think sa Brazil.
Saan yan? Yung Philippine team? Philippine team natin sa football?
Ibang country. Ibang country.
Okay.
But they're still very inspiring. Yung mga,
very inspiring. Tama yan.
To get there. And she's there. She won a gold for her country at a very young age. I think 18. After going through that. So yung mga stories na yan, nakaka-inspire. And
Na
tayo
posible
naman
pala.
dito.
Posible.
Hmm?
Na posible pala. People easily give up, di ba? At the first sign of parang difficulty or challenge, give up kagad. Pero look at these people, di ba? That they want to be, they perfect their craft, pero in the midst of that, nagkasakit pa, di ba? Direct, no? Nagkasakit pa. So, ayan, oo. So, yun. So,
ikaw, kumusta ang mga adventures mo? Mga camping?
Hindi mo pa kinasagot yung tanong ko, wala ka bang, sabihin ko yung camping. Pero ikaw ba, wala ka bang anything lined up for summer, attorney?
May mga pupuntahan lang like you, mga events lang din. But mostly not getting, wala pa naman ako nakabook na going out of the country. So just seeing people and attending events for the summer. So yun ang mga
Okay.
Mas gusto lumabas ng mga tao pag summer. Tapos nag-hibernate na yung mga tao pag malamig-lamig from October to mga November, wala na lumalabas. Kasi
or pupunta sila ng ibang bansa, no? Pupunta sila ng mga Portugal, mga Spain, ganyan, no? Ganyan, mas maganda weather.
Greece,
oh.
Diba?
Sa Pilipinas, umuulan. Attorney, mukhang hindi ko alam kung anong pinagsasabing El Nino phenomenon eh. Nag-uulan mas all over the world yata eh, no? Grabe eh. Di ba? Merong nakaraang mga tawag dito, yung mga bushfires yata diyan sa Greece, sa Italy yata, di ba? Dahil talagang mainit. Pero hindi, umuulan eh. Di ba? Parang wow. Grabe, no? Hindi ko maisip na nag-uulan ngayon, no? Oo nga, gusto ko i-enjoy yung summer. Kasi anywhere you go, even if you go traveling, even if you go to the best place, the most beautiful place in the world, kung umuulan, na-spoil dahil yung paglakad mo, mahirapan ka eh. You cannot explore it, di ba? Pero kung maganda ang weather, perfect, hindi man masyadong 5-star yung lugar na pupuntahan mo, gumaganda na rin yung experience mo eh. Di ba? Maski pa dahil nga sa ganda ng weather, no? So, yeah.
Weather plays a huge part.
Summer ko, yung camping ko, okay lang. Pero first time ko nag-camping, hindi ako nagtayo ng tent eh. Yung una. Pagkatapos, nung sinisimula na, ako na nagtayo na ng tent, no? Ngayon, marunong na ako maglagay ng tent, magtayo ng tent.
Nag-roast ba kayo ng marshmallows?
Ano, attorney?
Nag-roast ba kayo ng marshmallows, yung mga classic na camping?
Marshmallows, yung mga bata. Nagdagano sila. Yung aking tatlong apo. Pati may yung mga kapitbahay namin, yung mga bata. Kapitbahay in the sense na nagka-camping din. Kasi meron kami nabit na taga-Exeter na family. 2 magkapatid and 2 kids. And they went to Adrenaline Quarry. Direct, ilabas mo yung Adrenaline. Hindi ko alam kung may E, no? Pero Adrenaline Quarry. It's a place, no? Merong mga attorney, may mga ang pangalan nito. May zip. Nakapag-zip, ka na ba? Zip line ka na ba?
Yeah, zip line. Yeah, nakapag-zip line na ako.
Sige. Adrenaline. Hindi ko alam kung may E, no? Adrenaline, N-E, or ito.
Ay, wow!
Ayan, no? Adrenaline Quarry, Plymouth. Sa Plymouth. Wala yan. Punta mo yung website direct. Ayan, ganyan, mga zip, Adrenaline Quarry. Ayan,
Circuit, may
mga water sports, may mga, galing, no? Adrenaline Quarry. Next, North Cornwall. Ayan, no? Yeah, we could probably try North Cornwall. Kasi kasama niya, ang sabi nila, yun daw Christmas, parang usapan na lang, hindi yata masyadong mag-i-spend, I don't know, Christmas o lalabas or whatever. Babawiin daw at this time of the year, ito nga, no, year na to go to the Adrenaline Quarry. So sabi ko, mukhang kakaiba yun, parang naipo-program na pala yung, sige, let's not spend or whatever, do anything much in Christmas, but we'll do it in summertime. No? So,
we'll do it in better weather.
Sa bagay, so weather, tama rin. Hindi rin kasi mag-enjoy kung maski winter time. Tama naman. Zipline, minsan lang yata pag ziplines, once or twice, no? Pero hindi ko na, gusto ko subukan yan eh. Itong
Naka-try ko
Anong topic natin for tonight? Attorney, bago tayo mag-break?
Ang topic po
At
natin tonight
bati pa.
is, oh yes, ang topic natin tonight is, ano nga ba yun? Law in the UK, but numbers trivia. So magbibigay ako ng
Okay
numbers
yan.
yung
Maganda yan.
ating, numbers yung
Oo.
tema ng trivia
Sige,
natin yun,
sige,
ng
cute.
truth or myth. Truth or myth pa rin. But so pag nagsasabi ako ng number 1, magsasabi ko ng I will state a sentence containing the number 1 related to a law in the UK na may 1, and then huhulaan nyo po kung truth or myth. And the same for 2, the same for 3, the same for, so law in numbers, but using 1 to 10. At huhulaan nyo kung ano, kung true ba yan
Okay.
o haka-haka lang.
Sige, maganda yan. Nakakatuwa yan, no? That will be fun, no? For today. And syempre, alam mo na tayo, may bumper tayo direct, no? Para sa ating,
Ay, mga
first kung sino unang bumate. Sige, tignan natin. Okay, ito na yung batian portion natin, no? Nagkakabatian tayo. So we acknowledge those people who greet us the first, no? Yung mga first greeters. Okay, direct attorney, sino ang hula mo?
Naalala ko lang hindi ko na, Marian Galicio Paner, kasi parati ko nahuhulaan yung, or napipili yung ibang tao. Pero but today, I'll pick
Sige.
Marian Galicia Paner.
Marian Galicio Paner. Sige, tingnan nga natin. Uy, Stan! Hey, Stan!
Si Stan!
Wow, mabuhay ka, Stan, mabuhay.
Si Stan, ilaw naman. Si Stan ang galing mag-DIY. Gusto ko lang i-shout out ang talent ni Stan sa pag-DIY. Nakikita ko kasi yung mga project niya sa bahay, sila mag-asawa. Believe ako.
Wow,
Very
galing,
good.
galing. Gusto kong gawin yan
Ayan.
in future, no? Yung ako gagawa ng tag dito, ng mga bagay-bagay sa bahay. Yung kung, di ba nakarating ka sa ating, dito sa place namin, attorney, kung na-notice mo doon sa may dumating kasi to bear, bibigay sa'yo bear, no? White colors yung walls and everything, pati yung sa kitchen. Pero kung napansin mo sa kitchen, meron akong backsplash. Yung may mga tiles na nakadikit siya, no? I don't know kung na-notice mo yun.
Yes.
Yan, ako may gawa nun.
Ang galing.
Oo,
Ang
gumawa
galing.
nun. First time ko na, siguro kung
Galing.
expert mo, siguro it will take them probably a day, or siguro a day, no? Sa akin, nabot ako ng 2 to 3 days, no? Kasi hindi ako marunong magsukat, no? But yeah, so Stan, mabuhay, ha? Give me some tips on your DIY, ha?
Oh,
At saka natutuwa ako
tips
pag sa Stan, pag nandyan si Stan, parang nakakatuwa na he drops by and says hi and hello, no? Mabuhay, Stan, ha? Mabuhay.
Boy, Stan.
Teka, saan ba siya?
Sa family.
Anong lugar sa Stan?
London.
Anong lugar sa UK? London. Anong part ka ng London, Stan? Which part of London?
nga.
Malaki kasi London, eh. Greater London area yan, O, sige. Sino pangalawa natin, attorney? Sige.
Pangalawa, si Marian Galicia Panerole.
Marian Galicia Panero. Sige, Marian Galicia Panero. Nangingiti si Derek, eh. Mas natin ito.
Kasi tama ako.
Nangingiti. Pagka nangingiti, nung hinulaan mo, biglang nag-smile ang face niya. Ba, sabi ko mukhang merong mangyayaring maganda.
May mangyayaring
Ayan,
tama.
Marian.
Marian Galicia Paner says, hello po Kuya Sonny, Attorney Donna, Derek, Pau, at sa lahat. Happy Tuesday and happy watching to all viewers. Stay safe always. Stay healthy. God bless us po. God bless you too, Marian. Kamusta naman dyan sa inyo? Cheltenham nga, no? Cheltenham ba si Marian?
Oh, si Marian ba yung may direct yung may mga baka?
Baka.
Okay. Nakuha naman natin yung mga pangalan ng baka ni Marian? Hindi pa, no? Oh. Marian, yung baka mo, pangalanan mo. At saka yung yung ideas nung nakuha natin kay attorney, nung kinakwento niya yung biyahe niya sa Mont Blanc, yes. Mountain. Oo.
Mont Blanc.
Si attorney, nakikita niya yung mga baka sa bandaron, may mga bells sa leeg. Bells, tama ba? May bells ba? Oh, ngayon, Marian, lagyan mo ng bells yung mga mo. kamukha ni Snooki, may bell si Snooki sa leg eh. Kaya pag,
may bell ba?
alam mo, lumalapit siya. Di ba? Tumutunog yung bell. Kaya sabi ni Direk, andyan na si Snooki. Pagka nadidinig yung tingiling, may parang kalembang ng ice cream. Ting 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 ting. Andyan na si Snooki. So maganda sa mga baka, Marian. Ano na yan?
Asan si Snooki ngayon?
Nasa katabi ng mami niya. Malambing siya ngayon. Binila ng mami niya ng vitamins. Meron siyang vitamins kasi parang iniisip namin, parang siyang masyadong maliit. Baka parang gusto namin tumaba lang ng konti. Yun. So meron siya ngayon vitamins. Tapos nag-deworm sila ng mami niya, deworming. Para baka may binubula-bulate. Nagpunta kami sa camping. Every time, basa siya. Uulan ng gabi, di ba? O hapon, whatever. Paggising sa umaga, tatakbo siya. Basang-basa yung katawan niya everyday. Kaya siguro nagkasakit din. So, yan. Attorney, yan. Si Marian Galing sa panel. Yung ating kaibigan na
Marian Galing sa panel.
Yeah, Marian, tama ka na nakuha mo si Marian. Ha? Good. Sino pa? Attorney.
Third, right. Si Oliver Fernandez. Naalala ko din si Oliver Fernandez.
Oliver Fernandez.
From Washington, Seattle.
Oliver Fernandez. Tingnan natin. Gigi!
Aga ni Gigi ngayon Gigi Alamparo. Good evening now. Attorney Donna, Kuya Sonny, happy Tuesday all viewers. God bless you too, Gigi. Saan ka ba? At kamusta weather dyan? Nag-usap tayo. Anong mainit, maulan? Kamusta? Kasi dito ang
init. At saka gusto ko malaman, Attorney, kung Elamparo o Elamparo, Gigi Elamparo or Gigi Elamparo. Ganun, no? Gigi Elamparo or Elamparo.
Kung paano i-pronounce yung...
Oo nga, kasi di ba parang hindi naman kamukha ng Bautista, Mendoza, Perez, Quinto. Yan, di ba? Hindi naman Quinto, hindi naman... Wala naman tayo na Dana Quinto, di ba? Sa akin,
dito may kakaibang British pronunciation yung Quinto dito.
Quinto ka ba?
Quinto.
Wow, Quinto. Sa akin sa Pilipinas, Laragan. Pagdating dito, Laragan. Mr. Laragan. Mr. Laragan, you're next. Thank you very much. Si Pao, ano ba si Direk? Paula Perez. Roque ba apelido mo? Direk, Roque? Roque ba? O Roque kasi Perez. Sinisingit yung apelido ng nanay kasi niya eh. Oo, kaya Rockway siguro? Rockway.
Parang Quinto, Rockway.
Alam mo ba sa Spain, alam mo yung Torrevieja? Kunyari, Torrevieja. Tayo basa natin Torrevieja dahil V-I-E-J-A, yung J naging H, no? Pero mga Briton, they read it as parang K. Torrevieja. I've been to Torrevieja. So, siguro, Nueva Ecija sa kanan, Nueva Ecija, I don't know ba? If you're basing it from yung J nagiging K. Di ba yung J nagiging K? So, yeah.
Rioja is pronounced.
Oh, Rioja. Tama, eksakto. The same, no? Ayan. Sige, mga pagbati pa natin, direct. Sige.
Pagbati pa lang. Mikel de la Peña Marquez, mabahang gabi po. Pagbati mula dito sa bayan. Mabaha pala, sorry. Mula sa bayan ng Bulacan, Waterworld. Oo nga, bahan ako. Direk, kamusta pala? Nakikita ko.
Oo nga. Napabasa ko sa balita, Direk. Direk, attorney. Direk ako na Direk. Nasanay kasi ako sa night jam na. Hindi, Direk, attorney na ano tag dito, puro Bulacan ng balita nung pag nanonood ako ng GMA. Puro Bulacan, no? Kalumpit, kung saan-saan mga baha, no? Ito, nagpadala na ho ng mga relief goods. Hindi ho makaparating ang relief goods dahil ganito, ganyan. Nagano na ng bangka o kaya nag-ano ng ang pangalan nun, may kung ano nung mga ginagawa nila, no? So, mabuhay, ingat kayo dyan sa Pilipinas, yung mga binabaha sa Pilipinas.
Ingat po dyan. Ayan na si Oliver. Oliver, late, but
Wow.
better late than never. Ayan. Joke lang, Oliver. Kasi parati naman
Wow.
siyang present eh. Na ano lang. Hello, Kuya
Ayan,
Sonny, Attorney
oo.
Donna, Direk Pao, and the rest of Filipino TV Europe. We are having a great summer here in Everett, Washington. Tomorrow starts my 6-day work week, so I'm making the best of
Wow.
my days. Kasi napakahaba naman ang work week mo, Oliver. Pero
Oh,
ang gusto ko kay
ano
Oliver,
yan?
positive pa rin. Di ba?
Yeah.
Excited
Tama
pa
yan.
rin siya. 6
Pero
days.
regular ba yan? 6 days a week ba ang work mo,
Oo
Oliver?
nga.
Or are you doing some bank, no? Or overtime work,
Oo
no?
nga.
Kasi,
Explain
di ba,
mo.
6 days yan a week, no? Oo. Normally, di ba,
Mahaba-haba
mga
yan.
4, 5. Dito sa Pilipinas yata, sa Pilipinas, sa UK, it's either you work 5 days na regular time or 3 days or 4 days na medyo extended on some
Yeah,
days, di ba? Ganun yata ang
correct,
style nila
correct.
dyan sa health sector. So, ayan,
Oo.
okay. Alright, uy, sino to? Uy, si Ana Lu. Oh, si
Ganda
Ana
ng
Lu.
profile
Yeah.
picture, Kaya basahin ko na.
Si Ana Lu yata
Frank
may,
Amazing.
ilan ba ang kids ni Ana Lu? Dalawa yata, no? Ilan ba ang babies ni Ana Lu, anak ni Ana Lu? Isang
Dalawa ata.
batang-batang
Ano yung
mami nito,
dalawa
no?
ba? Oo,
Oh,
napakaganda ng mga anak. Dalawa
yes,
ata,
oo.
ano, Lu.
Yes. Dalawa anak
Basahin
niya,
ko,
no? Si Ana
amazing
Lu at
evening.
pwesto. Mabuhay
Amazing
Ana Lu,
evening,
ha?
Kuya Sonny, Direk Pao, and to everyone. Good
O,
to be
sabi niya,
back!
good to
Good
be
to be
back.
back.
Oo nga, oh, good to be back. Nakita na naman natin si attorney, no? Ayan. Alright. Okay, direct. Ayan. Okay. Oh. Uy!
Yan,
Parang may
yes!
nakita
We're
akong
feel
message
very,
ni
very
parang may
privileged,
nakita
tita.
akong message ni si Emily na sa
Na-miss
aking
ko yan.
sige, pag babasahin, hindi ko pa nakikita eh.
Di ba,
So mabuhay
di
ka
ba
Emily, no?
nababasa na
Mabuhay ka
kay
Emily.
Laragan yung ano niya, yung private message. Tita Emeline says, hello, good evening, Sonny and Attorney Dana. Naka-all caps, kaya okay si Tita.
Mabuhay, ha? Si
Ay,
Lady Emmeline. Oo, namimiss na natin yan si Lady Emmeline, no? Oh,
oh,
wow! Sumagot agad.
mga teenagers na. Wow. Oo nga,
Lalaki
nakita ko na
na.
ako. Sino ba yung parang graduate recently? Congratulations.
Ano?
Ano ba yun nakalagay kay Miguel? Sana na, ano daw? Wala eh. Sana nga meron. Oh, really, yung ano, mga tulong. Sana meron. Kaso wala. Yan, nananawagan po tayo.
Tulong ba? Okay.
Sana nga daw
Wala
po
eh. Kung
meron
ako swertehin, pag sinwerte ako, siguro ganyan gawin natin. Pag sinwerte, sarap kasing makatulong eh, no? Kapag meron kang maitutulong, di ba? Tulungan mo yung mga kababayan natin. Oh, si Egay Dagay.
Ayan na. Egay the guy.
Egay.
Hindi yung Egay na typhoon, but Egay the lovely guy. Happy Tuesday.
Ikaw, Egay, mali ang ginawa mo sa Pilipinas, ha? Masama yung ginawa mo, ha? Pinagbaha-baha mo sila, ha? Hindi, si Egay
Busy
na
ka,
typhoon,
Egay.
no? Hindi si Egay Dagay. Ikaw, Egay, ha? Egay na typhoon. Ayan, sige, pakibasa, attorney.
Happy Tuesday to Mr. Laragan, Attorney Dana, and hardworking Direct Pao, and to the viewers still working in Canary Wharf. Looking forward to lots of learning again today. Thanks. Wow.
Oh, gagabihin ka. Gagabihin ka ba, Edgar? No? Gagabihin si Edgar doon sa kanyang work, no? Ingat ka, ha? Pag-uwi. Alright, ingat kang pa-uwi. Yeah, si Egay Dagay ho, every Wednesday ho, nandito dito, Mr. Tip ang tawag natin sa kanya, a truly inspiring person because he gives out tips by way of acronyms. So mabuhay ka, Egay, ha? At check him out, na meron siyang YouTube channel, Egay Dagay, no? Ayan, no? Yung kaibigan natin si Egay. Alright, we're gonna have a short break, attorney, at pagbalik natin yung ating triviang little game ba yan? Parang game o hulaan, no?
Truth or myth pa rin. Truth or myth
Law
pa
in the
rin.
UK, numbers. Yeah, numbers trivia. Okay, so wag ko kayong alis, saglit po lamang, kami po ni attorney ay magbabalik.
Mula noon hanggang ngayon, serbisyong mapagkakatiwalaan, serbisyong maaasahan pagdating sa inyong mga padalang balikbayan boxes. Dito ka na sa Forex Cargo. Sa presyong kayang-kaya ng bulsa, sigurado ka pa sa inyong padala. Forex Cargo. Dahil kailangan makarating. Call 0208-813-7064. O ano pang inaantay niyo mga kabayan? Tayo na sa Forex Cargo.
100% all natural, tasty, healthy, versatile. 4 unique flavors. Taste a real sauce. Galetos.
May problema ka ba sa landlord mo? Baka AV ka na ni Kuya. May problema sa mga kapitbahay, sa trabaho. O kaya naman kay Mister o kay Mrs. Away tungkol sa mala, mga may utang, mga aksidente, daing o laban sa ospital or sa NHS, harassment, o baka naman may stalker ka na gusto mong ireklamo. Punta na sa DV Solicitors para matulungan ka pagdating sa mga litigations at iba pang mga legal concerns. DV Solicitors at 2nd floor, Howard House, St. John Street, Bedford, MK42 0DJ. Tumawag sa 01234-350-244 or 01234-225-188 o kaya naman mag-email sa d.quinto@dvsolicitors.com. Visit our website at www.dvsolicitors.com.
Mula sa kabisera ng Inglaterra, sa puso ng Britanya, London, UK. London, UK. Ito ang Channel Philippines Network, Pinoy Radio UK. Pinoy Radio UK. Sumasahing papawid 24 oras. 24 oras. Buong linggo. Sa www.pinoyradiouk.com. Ang mga pinakapaborito mga awitin, mga pinakaabangang programa, at mga sariwang balita at impormasyon mula at para sa mga kababayang Pilipino sa UK at sa buong mundo. Pinoy Radio UK. Pinoy Radio UK.
Okay, nagbabalik ho ang ating programang Legal Advice Corner on a Tuesday. Happy Tuesday ho sa inyong lahat. Ako po si SONNY Laragan dito po sa ating programang lingguhang napapanood ninyo at napapakinggan dito po sa Filipino TV Europe. Siyempre, tawagan na natin yung ating pinakamamahal na abogada, no? Brains and Beauty, no? Ang ating siguro agree si attorney dito, si Direk dito. Siguro ang the prettiest nating abogada rito sa United Kingdom, no? Brains and Beauty, mga kaibigan. Walang iba kundi si Attorney Dana Quinto. Attorney, happy Tuesday once again.
Happy Tuesday! Nakakataba naman ng puso yan. Siyempre, ikaw ang pinakagwapo at si Direk ang pinakamaganda sa lahat din. Yes, welcome back!
Attorney.
Naku, kinilig naman ako. Very flattered.
Nag-message pala si Emmeline, kaya pala siya na-hack daw yung kanyang messenger. May bago siyang messenger na hack daw yung kaya ingat-ingat ho kayo sa mga yung mga sa social media or sa online, kasi yung mga security na natin, no? Security, anything no? Yung mga bank details nyo at kung ano-ano baka makuha sayang at mahirap. Meron mang balita ngayon, isang company, attorney, na hack yung kanilang yung mga bitcoins nila nakuha So, asan ba yan? Kaya't, medyo ingat-ingat lang ho kayo. Ayun, malalaki na yan, matitindi na mga security noon, And yet, nahahack pa rin, di ba? To be in
Oo.
business of selling mga bitcoins or yung mga crypto, tapos mahack ka pa, di ba? Hindi ang mga hacker. So,
Ang sakit
di ba?
naman.
Yung mga bitcoin na hack tayo pa, how much more, no? Paano pa kaya tayong mga malilit lamang? Okay, well, attorney, sige. Go. Take it away. Dito sa ating trivia. Sige. Let's go. Kuha tayong pen and paper.
Yes, get your pen and paper or notes nyo sa inyong telepono, sa inyong cellphone, or whatever it is, kung meron mo kayong mga scratch paper dyan, dahil hulaan na naman, truth or myth. At ang topic natin ngayon is law in the UK, pero ang tema ay numbers. So, I will, as usual, magbibigay ako ng statement, but here meron tayong may pattern. So I will give a statement number. Statement number 1 will correspond to a number 1 appearing in a legal context. And you have to choose whether totoo to o haka-haka lang. You'll get the gist of it. You'll get how it is. Better na mag-start na lang tayo. Basta hulaan niyo po kung truth or myth. Number 1, using the number 1. You can only get a divorce or dissolution after you've been married or in your civil partnership for at least 1 year. So, pwede ka lang mag-divorce, mag-start dito ng divorce ng UK or dissolution kung married ka ng at least 1 year. Okay? Truth or myth? Number 2. So, ang topic natin is all around the laws in the UK. Mix po to. Hindi lang family, hindi lang civil. Mix. But the recurring theme is it's numbers. It's about numbers. So, number 2. In order to get divorced, you still need to prove that you have been separated for 2 years and your spouse consents to the divorce. So, in order to get divorced these days, you do need to prove that you have been separated for 2 years, dahil number 2 tayo, and your spouse consents to the divorce. O yan daw, kailangan i-prove mo na naghiwalay na kayo ng 2 taon at meron kang consent, pumayag yung ex mo na mag-divorce kayo. Yan daw ang requirement in order to get divorced these days. That's number 2, using the number 2. Number 3, or statement number 3, using the number 3. You only have 3 years, 3 not 2, 3 years to settle or commence a court action in personal injury. After 3 years, you will be statute barred or prevented by law. 3 taon lang daw ang ibibigay sa'yo ng batas bago, if you are planning to sue, kung gusto mong magkaso ng personal injury, 3 taon lang ang ibibigay sa'yo ng batas, or else after that bawal na, statute barred ka na, or prescribed ka na, or that's what we call a prescription period. That's statement number 3, using the number 3. Number 4, constitutionally, the United Kingdom has 4 components: England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. So statement number 4, using the number 4, constitutionally daw dito sa United Kingdom. Parang life in the UK test lang, ano? The UK has 4 components: England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. That's 4, using, or statement number 4, using the number 4. Number 5, or statement number 5, using the number 5. 5 years desertion is still a ground and a requirement to get a divorce. So, 5 years ka daw na iniwan is still, kailangan mo pa rin i-prove na 5 years ka iniwan bago ka makakuha ng divorce. 5 years. Is that truth? Is that a truth or a myth? Number 6, or statement number 6, using the number 6. You have 6 years from the date of breach to sue someone for breach of contract. After 6 years, you will be statute barred. So, 6 na taon lang daw kung ikaw ay magkakaso sa dahil hindi sinunod ang isang obligasyon under sa isang kontrata. 6 na taon lang ang ibibigay sa'yo ng batas from the date of that breach. Then 6 years later, that's the expiry of when you can sue them. And after that, you will be statute barred. Is that truth or a myth? That's statement 6 for number 6. 7, or statement number 7, using the number 7. The Presumption of Death Act 2013 can be used to apply to the court for a declaration of presumed death if the missing person has been missing for a period of at least 7 years. So meron daw ito, this act that we call Presumption of Death Act, you can use that act to apply to the court to presume death, to declare, for the court to declare na patay na tong tao nito if this person has been missing, nawawala, for at least 7 years. Is that truth or a myth? If you're just tuning in, this is still truth or myth, but baka nagtatanong kayo bakit ang emphasis ko ngayon ay numbers. Yun po ang tema natin ngayon. So, for statement number 1, I will be using the number 1 in a legal context at huhulaan niyo po kung totoo o haka-haka lang ang statement na yon. Nasa 7 na kami, but it's okay. I will repeat it kung kaka-join nyo lang. It's okay. As long as bawal mag-Google, bawal mag-cheat. Number 8. Number 8. The court will automatically grant main care or sole custody to the mother of the children who are aged 8 years or below. So, automatiko daw ang sole custody sa mga nanay kung ang mga bata o mga bata ay edad 8 years old or pababa. Truth or myth? Number 9, using the number 9. Equality Act 2010 protects people against discrimination because of the protected characteristics that we all have. So, employment law naman tayo. Under the Equality Act 2010, there are 9 protected characteristics. Is that truth or myth? So, ulitin ko, meron tayong tinatawag dito sa UK, which is mostly applicable in employment law, na Equality Act 2010. And sabi doon, it is dinidescribe ng batas na yon ang protected characteristics natin that must be protected from discrimination. And it says that there are 9 protected characteristics. And for completeness, I will list it. So, pakinggan nyo po. Age, disability, gender reassignment, marriage and civil partnership, pregnancy and maternity, race, religion or belief, sex, and sexual orientation. So, yun ang mga protected characteristics daw, siyam daw siya, that the Equality Act 2010 purports to protect from discrimination. Is that truth or a myth? And number 10, using statement number 10, using the number 10, children under 10 cannot, or children under 10 years old, cannot be charged with committing a criminal offense. Is that truth or a myth? Okay? uulitin ko sa mga late at tardy dyan. O kaya, if you've missed one or two of the questions, ulitin natin. If you're just joining us, as I've said, ito truth or myth pa rin. Quiz show pa rin tayo. Get a piece of paper. Very easy. I'm gonna say a statement. You're going to guess if it's truth or myth, or hopefully educated guess na. Sa ilang taon na tayo dito. So, some of these have been used before. Some of these bagong trivia. Pero ang tema natin ngayon ay numbers. So, corresponding sa statement 1, I'll be using the number 1 in a legal context. Number 1, or statement 1. You can only get a divorce or dissolution after you've been married or in your civil partnership for at least 1 year. Truth or myth? Number 2, in order to get divorced, you need to prove you've been separated for 2 years and your spouse consents to the divorce. Number 3, you only have 3 years to settle or commence an action in personal injury. 3 taon lang daw. Otherwise, or after that, you will be stopped by the law or statute barred. Number 4, statement 4, using the number 4. Constitutionally, the United Kingdom has 4 components: England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. Parang life in the UK, sabi ko nga. Number 5, balik tayo sa divorce. 5 years desertion is still a ground and a requirement to get a divorce. Or 5 years desertion, iniwan ka na 5 taon, ay ground pa rin daw to get a divorce. Number 6, you have 6 years from the date of breach of contract. Kontrata naman tayo. To sue someone for breach of contract. You're given by law 6 years. After that, you cannot sue them anymore, or what we call you are being statute barred from suing them. Is that truth or myth? Number 7, Presumption of Death Act 2013 can be used to apply to the court for a declaration of a presumed death if the missing person has been missing for a period of at least 7 years. So, under daw sa law na yun, pwede ka mag-apply to the court na ideklara na patay na ang isang tao kung nawala na nawawala ng 7 taon o mahigit. And number 8, the court will automatically grant main carer status or sole custody to the mother of the children who are aged 8 years old or below. Number 9, there are 9 protected characteristics under the Equality Act 2010, which protects people against discrimination. These protected characteristics, or 9 protected characteristics, are age, disability, gender reassignment, marriage and civil partnership. So one yan, marriage and civil partnership. Pregnancy and maternity, race, religion or belief, sex, and sexual orientation. Employment law naman yan. Number 9, or number 10 pala, children under 10 years old cannot be charged with committing a criminal offense. Is that truth or myth? Now, exchange of papers. It feels like kung sa nung high school, and the teacher is nagpapaquiz yung teacher nyo. Right. Answer sheet na. Number 1, you can only get a divorce or dissolution after you've been married or in your civil partnership for at least 1 year. That is true. That is called the 1 year marriage, the marriage bar, the 1 year bar that we call in divorce. So kailangan maka 1 year ka muna. Try mo muna ng 1 taon bago ka makapag-apply ng divorce. So unlike in the US, I don't think they have that. Dito, you will need to wait for the 1st year anniversary. And that has survived the recent big round of changes in divorce law in the UK. Alive pa rin yung requirement na yan. So, that is true. You need to wait for your 1st year anniversary before you can apply for divorce. Number 2, statement number 2 using number 2, in order to get divorced, you need to prove that you've been separated for 2 years and your spouse consents to the divorce. Truth or false? At this current point in time, no, it's a myth. 2 years ago or before 2022. That is true. That's one of the grounds of divorce before April 6, 2022. So, nag-change na po yung batas since April 6, 2022. You don't need to prove that. You don't need to prove na separated ka for 2 years at nag-consent ang iyong ex-spouse. All you need to prove these days is that the marriage is irretrievably broken down. So, yes, before may ganyang batas, pero wala na po ngayon. Number 3, you only have 3 years to settle or commence an action in personal injury. After that, bawal na, finish na, and you will be statute barred. That is true. Sana nakuha yan dahil parati na isa sa mga favorite na multiple truth or myth question natin. So that is absolutely true. Number 4. So medyo may pagka life in the UK test. Constitutionally, the United Kingdom has 4 components: England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. That is true. However, ito meron akong extra trivia. Basahin natin. Within these 4 jurisdictions, there were 3 legal systems. So England and Wales have a combined legal system. Scotland and Northern Ireland have independent legal systems. So I can't really, yung jurisdiction namin, if you look at our practicing certificate, so kami mga abogado, you can see there na nasa jurisdiction kami ng England and Wales lang. However, constitutionally, yung United Kingdom is still composed of 4 components: England, Wales, Northern Ireland, and Scotland. Magkakaiba lang yung mga legal jurisdiction niya. At para complicated pa rin, hindi sila 4, kundi 3 legal system. Okay? 5, or statement number 5, using the number 5. 5 years desertion is still a ground and a requirement to get a divorce. Siguro may hint na tayo dito. That is false. As I've said, it's much simpler since 6th of April 2022. That could have probably been, that was true before that time. Isa yan sa mga grounds ng divorce. But at the moment, wala nang requirement to prove na iniwan ka, deserted ka. You only need to confirm that the marriage has irretrievably broken down. Ito po yung tinatawag namin na no-fault divorce. So, no more of those factual grounds. Yun lang, tick mo lang sa box. The marriage is irretrievably broken down. So that's a myth. 5 is a myth. Number 6. You have 6 years from the date of the breach of contract to sue someone, or else after that, again, finish, statute barred na. That is true. Again, isa yan sa mga ating paboritong tinatanong dito sa ating truth or myth. That's breach of contract. So magkaiba. Pag nakita nyo, magkaiba yung personal injury. So 3 years, mabilis lang. Yung breach of contract, a lot longer, doble ang period na bibigay sa inyo. So, wag po nating babaliktarin yun dahil mahihirapan po kayo kung tinatawag namin out of time na kayo. You could potentially ask the court for permission, but it will be an uphill battle. So, kailangan tandaan yung mga deadline. 3 years personal injury, 6 years for breach of contract. Number 7, the Presumption of Death Act 2013 can be used to apply to the court for a declaration of presumed death if the missing person has been missing for a period of at least 7 years. That is true. And saan po nagagamit yan? Probate. Yung kailangan nyo ng i-deal yung assets nila, i-deal yung bahay nila. So, the Presumption of Death Act 2013 provides a way for the relatives of a missing person to apply for the declaration of a presumed death. The main purpose of this is to allow the relatives to deal with the financial affairs of the missing person. It can also provide closure, especially if the person has been missing for a long time. So, you may have to deal with the mortgage, you may have to deal with loan payments, you may have to deal with obligations nitong nawawalang person, but you can't deal with it if you're the relative kung wala kang declaration from the court. So that's how it becomes useful. It can also be used if the person has been missing for less than 7 years, provided there are specific facts which suggest that the person has died. Such circumstances might include the information that the person's last known location was the site of a catastrophic event or natural disaster, or evidence suggesting that they might have taken their own life. I think one thing that comes to mind is an example. If natatandaan niyo po, 2013 ata nangyari, so more than 7 years. That is the tragedy of MH370, that Malaysian Airlines flight na hanggang ngayon hindi pa rin nakikita how many souls, 200 plus souls. Up until now, we haven't found a wreckage, we haven't found bodies. So perhaps, I don't know if there were British people in there, but if there were, and they could, the relatives potentially could use this in order to deal with the affairs or the estate of those people. So that's how it can be useful in real life. So true, 7 is true. Number 8, the court will automatically grant main care or sole custody to the mother of the children who are age 8 years or below. That is a myth. There is no automatic presumption in the family court in the UK. Unlike other jurisdictions, if children are of this age or below, there is automatically a starting point that they will go to the mother. Normally, that's the case. But in the UK, there is no such thing as that. So it's a case-to-case basis. They'll look at, quite simply, what is in the best interest of the children. Hindi nila i-assume it's mother, hindi nila i-assume it's the father. They really need to get into the nitty-gritty of how those parents have arranged the child care in the past, practically who can provide the child care, who is able to do so whilst doing their jobs. Also, kung may mga safeguarding concerns, may mga risk, may mga allegations ng child abuse, of course they will take that into account. The myth na automatic sa nanay kung bata, under age 8 or 7 or 9, it doesn't really, you cannot see that in any UK law, you cannot see that in any UK judgment. So wala pong ganon, walang automatic na nasa nanay pag ganitong edad. Let's make that very clear. So that is a myth. Number 9, we will jump to employment law. Halo-halo tayo ngayon. Equality Act 2010 protects people against discrimination because of the protective characteristics that we all have. Under the Equality Act 2010, there are 9 protected characteristics. 1, age. 2, disability. 3, gender reassignment. 4, marriage and civil partnership. 5, pregnancy and maternity. 6, race. 7, religion or belief. 8, sex, and 9, sexual orientation. So, when you define discrimination in an employment case law, that's how you look at it. If you say, well, I was discriminated due to my protected characteristics, that may mean an enhanced level of compensation for you. But obviously, it has to be backed up by evidence. It has to be backed up, supported by statements, by a paper trail, kung ganun nga talaga nangyari. But what it means in terms of legal proceedings and legal compensation is that it may mean a higher sum of money, or hindi siya ganun ka-restricted. So protected characteristics, if you're able to prove a discrimination on those grounds, then that would probably make a stronger or a much more enhanced claim. So just take note of that. But and from experience, and this is not as well hindi naman to sa sinasabi natin na hindi lahat ng claim hindi makakapasa. it's a very high bar. The evidence for discrimination, racial discrimination, you really have to prove to the court na yun, the race in itself and or materially yung race mo, or materially yung protected characteristic mo, I listed 9. Isa doon ang rason bakit ka na-discriminate. The reality is it's quite hard to prove. Unless sinabi niya na, oh, I'm not giving you this job because of you're a woman, I'm not giving you this job because you're pregnant. Very rarely you'll get such admission in real life. But that's the level of what we call link, causative link, na hinahanap ng judiciary when you're trying to prove a case of discrimination, whether it's sex discrimination, whether it's racial discrimination. So, I often hear it, and hindi naman sana, siguro talaga na-feel ng claimant. I feel dahil, I was discriminated because Filipino ako, o brown ako, because of my color. But you really have to prove that it's really because of that. Problem is, hindi natin mababasa, na-feel natin, pero hindi natin mababasa talaga yung thoughts nila. So that's how we encounter, as lawyers, the problem of proving these discrimination against these protected characteristics. Okay, so that is true. Ang ending na sagot dyan is true. The 9 na protected characteristics under Equality Act 2010. And number 10, finally, so a little bit, although I don't do criminal law, a little bit of info about criminal law. Children under 10 years old cannot be charged with committing a criminal offense. That is true. However, they can be given a local child curfew or a child safety order. And children under 10 years old who break the law regularly can sometimes be taken into care. What we mean by care is foster care, yung social, yung local authority mag-intervene, and they will take them away from their parents. And though their parents could also be held responsible. So they will not charge the children, but instead they might intervene by borough council nyo, they might intervene to say, well, hindi na alagaan, or hindi siguro na nag-guide na maayos yung children ng mga na magulang nila, so they'll intervene, they'll take them into foster care, and they may even hold those parents responsible. So that's a further trivia for that number 10, or the statement number 10 using the 10. Well, let's quickly go through it. 1 is true, 2 is false, 3 is true, 4 is true, 5 is myth or false, 6 is true, 7 is true, 8 is myth, 9 is true, and 10 is true. Mr. Laragan, ilan nakuha niyo?
Yes. Naka-8 ako, 8 yata, or 8, 9, 8 yata to. Oh, I 5 years desertion ako, medyo ako ron. Yun lang. And what was the other one?
Tingnan natin. Oh, true.
Uy, yeah. Yun. So, yeah. Yung iba kasi, alam na natin yung 3 years, no? Oh, yung galing. Sino yan?
Sino ba yan?
Direk, ikaw ba yan?
May isang, si Direk ate yan. May isang,
si Oliver. Wow, galing naman. Very good, Oliver.
Very good.
Galing naman.
Was it interesting? Was it quite interesting?
Yeah, quite interesting. Oh, kasi very encompassing. You touched on labor, di ba? You touched on a bit of criminal, di ba? So, maganda to. Halo-halo, di ba? Contracts. Family law, halo-halo eh. Divorce.
Bit of life in the UK test.
UK, four countries in the UK. At saka yung tama yung sinabi mo sa attorney, yung sa legal yung mga legal, di ba? England and Wales kayo, di ba? Parang gano'n, no? Tapos merong Scotland, merong Ireland, Northern Ireland. Ganon din sa sa businesses yata eh. Pagka nag-register ka in mga company's house, England and Wales yun. Iba yata pa yung Scotland yata, hindi ko alam, no? Parang England and Wales eh. Tapos pagka sa driving, iba ang driving test ng Northern Ireland. Meron
Tama
silang iba ron na hindi pa parang gano'n eh, may iba sa ano. So, yeah, tama ka ron. That's good, no? Binigyan mo kami ng an idea na you are practicing in England and Wales, attorney. So
Exactly.
pag may kaso doon sa Scotland, kunyari may Pilipino, gusto kang kunin, paano yun? How is that? How would you explain that? Paano yun?
Depende sa kontratas, depende sa jurisdiction ng kontrata. Kasi minsan, meron ako dati na, although andun sila, pero yung kontrata, I argued na yung kontrata, ang jurisdiction ng kontrata, England and Wales. That could happen as well. That could happen. But kung talagang nasa Scotland lang yung wala kang argument na pwede mong dalhin dito yung jurisdiction, potentially, you really have to get a lawyer who's able to practice in Scotland or Northern Ireland. Yung jurisdiction is quite a complex legal concept in itself. Sometimes may argument kung hindi klaro sa kontrata. So isa pa yan, additional trivia. If you're signing a contract, kahit nasan ka, basahin mo pa rin na kung nasan yung jurisdiction. So if you see probably contracts here, you will see, the jurisdiction here is England and Wales. Exactly as what we're saying, hindi nakalagay the jurisdiction is United Kingdom. The jurisdiction is in England and Wales. So you might want to look at if you have an agreement na halimbawa baka may transport company from Scotland to UK. Tingnan nyo, kasi pwede mo namang i-insist na ang agreement nyo, ang inyong home court England and Wales.
Buying a house din yata, attorney, iba rin sa Scotland, no? Iba rin ang style doon, di ba? So, iba ang conveyancing doon, iba ang conveyancing dito. Wow, Ma'am Cora! Oo, tama yun. You know, we make mistakes, and then we know the answer. O, di okay na, di ba? Na natutunan natin. Tama rin yan eh. Yung hinuhulaan natin, yung the best to the best of our knowledge, kung ano man yung may stock knowledge man tayo dun sa ating discussion, malaking bagay yan. Uy, sino yan? Rafi L. Cafon?
From Belgium. Saan sa Belgium? Brussels? Rafi
which
L.
part
Cafon.
of Belgium? Rafi, no? El Cafon. Cafon ba? Rafon? Cafon. Rafi, which part of Belgium are you watching us from? Let us know, no? That's truly nice to hear and know that somebody from Belgium is watching us. No? Maraming salamat. Thank you. Filipino ka ba? Are you a Filipino or a Belgian?
Oh, Filipino ka ba? Oh,
Belgian, no. Rafi, mabuhay ka, no? Mabuhay. Okay, maganda yung mga hula ni maganda hula tuloy. Yung sagot ni Oliver, no? So, which is good. Ikaw ba, direct, ilan ba sinagot mo? Nakasagot ka ba? Ilan ba sa'yo? 6 lang. Oo. Pwede kayo mag-classmate ni Ma'am Cora, no? Classmate kayo ni Ma'am Cora. 6, di ba? Maganda yan kasi nag-stick sa mind mo eh. Ano pa yan, attorney? Ano yung equality, ano yun? Yung 9 protected characteristics? Pakiulit nga yun. Employment, age, disability, gender reassignment. Ano yung uli yun? Hindi ko naisulat lang.
Age, number 1, age. Number 2, disability. Number 3, gender reassignment. Number 4, marriage and civil partnership. Number 5, pregnancy and maternity. Number 6, race. 7, religion or belief. 8, sex, and 9, sexual orientation. So yan ang 9 protected characteristics which Equality Act 2010 purports to protect people against discrimination. So ito yung mga pinoprotektahan ng Equality Act na 2010. Kaya you hear sexual discrimination, age discrimination, disability discrimination. Ito ang pinanggalingan yan. Ito yung batas na pinanggalingan yan.
Oh, sex tapos sex orientation? Attorney?
Yes. Yep.
Ano ibig sabihin ng sex orientation?
Sex is just kung halimbawa babae, pinili yung babae kaysa sa lalaki repeatedly over promotion. That's a sex discrimination, isn't it? Sexual orientation is LGBT.
Discrimination ba? Hindi orientation? Discrimination. Sorry. Discrimination.
Yeah, so magkaiba ang sex is female or male. So some people would say,
yeah,
oh,
yun nga.
pinili siya dahil lalaki siya, or the other way around, dahil lalaki or babae. Sexual orientation is obviously, LGBTQ, discrimination against that. So two separate characteristics for me.
Okay. All right. So ayun, at least naipaliwanag 'yan, no? So ayan, marami tayong natutunan for today, no? Yung sa yung attorney, yung sa nga pala, yung sa breach of contract, 6 years.
6 years, yes.
True 'yon, di ba? Tama ba?
True yon, yes. True yun.
Doble ng 3 years ng sa mga personal injury claims. Ayan, at least marami tayong natutunan for today, no? At ayan, sana mag-stick, no? Pag ganyan lang actually ganyan ang style ng attorney pagkuha ng theory test exam ng driving at saka life in the UK test. Yung meron mga programs na binibenta na parang merong database ng mga questions na maglalabas, magpa-pop up. Sagot ka lang ng sagot, no? Maski hindi ka mag-aral masyado. Dahil kakabasa mo yan, may sagot yun minsan, ini-explain ko ano yung sagot eh. Tapos siguro, ganun lang naman yan eh. Yung, anything naman, for example, muscle memory lang naman yan. Kunyari, if you want to stand straight, sit down straight na, di ba? Maglakad ng diretso likod, muscle memory lang yan. Parang tinitrain mo lang yung sarili mo eh. Nabasa mo ba yung interview na-interview si Boyet De Leon, si Christopher De Leon? May interview siya first time siya na-interview ni Corina Sanchez. Napanood ko nasa YouTube eh. Yung dad niya, tinuruan siya kasi kung maglakad siya, di ba parang model, parang macho. Kasi pag maganda ang swagger mo, no? Maganda yun eh. Ano yun eh, itinuro daw ng father niya, at saka ang muscle memory. Yun sinabi. Kasi when you train to yourself in anything, di ba? When I train myself to brush my teeth using my how do you call that, attorney? Dominant arm? Yung ginagamit right-handed, kunya right-handed ka. So I try to do things naman left-handed.
Ambidextrous na. Ambidextrous.
Parang ganyan, parang nakakatuwaan ko kung kanan ako, teka muna, gawin ko nga sa kaliwa. Di ba? Parang it's fun, parang gano'n. Ganun lang iniisip ko. Di kaya kunyari nasugatan ka sa how do you call this? Active arm, active or basta right-handed, left-handed tayo.
Dominant hand, attorney? Or right-handed or left-handed. Dominant hand.
Ano ka ba?
Yeah.
Ano ka ba? Right-handed ka or left-handed?
Right-handed.
Right-handed. Wow, okay. Ayan, yung mga ganun nga. Yung kaka-exam natin ito. Natututo tayo, nag-stick sa atin. Kita mo sa mga very honest. 6 out of 10. Teacher natin yan. Pero this is fun. Maganda itong ginawa mo, attorney. Yung numbers 1 to 10, and then nirelate mo yung mga ito, no? Kunyari, only in divorce if married at least for 1 year, you will be able to file the divorce if married for at least 1 year. Ayan. Separated for 2 years. Yan. Kita mo. Yung divorce, so after 1 year.
After 1 year.
So separated ka for 2 years.
Muna ng 1 year. Tiisin mo
1 year. So yung divorce, walang kinalaman yung separation for 2 years, di ba? You can file anytime, pero after the first year.
After the first year.
File anytime after the first year. Ang reason ba rito, baka magbago pa isip, attorney? Kaya 1 year. Kunyari, si Pao, kunyari, si Direk, may asawa siya, kinasal sila. Siguro mga 6 months pa lang, parang hate niya na yung guy. No? Parang ayaw na niya. Hindi pa, sasabihin ng korte, you cannot, no? It will not prosper, no? Even if you file, parang, let's give it a try. Subukan kaya natin. You file. It wouldn't prosper, no?
No, it wouldn't. Kung 6 months. I think may mga kaso ata na narinig ko binalik. Hindi talaga yung papasa. Chine-check nila eh. Stricto sila mag-check.
At so nakalagay doon, kunyari, when were you married? Ganyan. So, kailangan. So,
you have to
hindi naman tinatanong.
Kailangan mo
sasabihin yung original
marriage certificate mo.
Marriage certificate.
Well, technically
Ah,
online, you have to confirm na nasa sa'yo yung original marriage certificate. They'll ask you in the questions anyway.
ayan. Ay, attorney, may tanong.
Ayan, may tanong.
Ano to
Ganda
ba?
ng tanong niya. Over having a hyperthyroid or overactive thyroid. I think depende yan sa depende ata sa,
Disability?
I haven't been, depende sa level of mobility or daily living assistance na kailangan. So, depende siguro. It's not necessarily yung prognosis. I think it depends kung ano yung nangyayari. Hindi ako ganun ka, I've only because I had I recently had an experience just observing sa social entitlement na tribunal. Depende sa context siguro. If it's about claiming for PIP, I don't know if that's the case. What I know is you get certain points depende dun sa kung ano yung kaya mong gawin on a daily basis, whether nutrition, food-wise, mobility, whether going to the toilets, etc., and all of that. So there are certain layers of it. Yun ang tanong ko, anong konteksto nito? If it's about employment performance mo, you have a certain disability, the employer are expected to do some reasonable adjustments, reasonable being the operative word. But then there comes a time na kung nalagay na reasonable adjustment, but it's really going to the crux of of your performance na hindi na talaga kaya, then that would be may dapat they will follow their procedures, their policy and procedures when they look at it as a performance issue. But if there were any, whether thyroid man yan or a certain example, one question for me recently was a cancer diagnosis. Syempre, nasa siguro nandun siya in between na hindi, they were still able to work but not as well as before. How would that be? How would the employer? What would be the lawful way for the employer to deal with that? So the answer is they are obviously bound by the law to make reasonable adjustments depending kung ano yung size nila, depende din kung ano yung trabaho, depende sa sitwasyon ng trabaho nila. But there would come a time, it's balancing of interest. There would come a time na titingnan talaga, baka hindi na talaga kaya. So that's the reason why I asked, ano yung content, ano konteksto nito? Konteksto ba ito ng when you're claiming for social welfare entitlement under PIP, which is when you're claiming for those benefits, or is it because you want to claim under employment law na may disability, that the disability is affecting performance?
Ito, tinitignan ko, no? Ano ba itong hindi ko alam na ito, overactive thyroid, no? An overactive thyroid can cause a wide range of symptoms, including nervousness, anxiety, and irritability, mood swings, difficulty sleeping, persistent tiredness and weakness, sensitivity to heat, swelling in your neck from an enlarged thyroid gland, or goiter, no? Parang goiter yun. An irregular and or unusually fast heart rate, palpitations, twitching or trembling, and weight loss. Ayan. So, ayan, no? Well,
so yun
ang sabi
ang
ko,
tanong ko eh.
pwedeng disability to? Pwede bang disability to? Pwede yata naman. Yata, no?
My question is, anong konteksto? Are they claiming for personal independence payment from the government? Or are they saying, I have this disability regarding employment? Okay, so regarding employment. So, and they might be saying na the reason why I'm not doing my job as I wish I could is because of my disability. So yun din, the same with that cancer diagnosis na, no? There ought to be some reasonable adjustment, but the operative word is reasonable. Pero kung the prognosis in itself makes it unreasonable for the employer to make further adjustment, kung hindi na talaga kaya, then they could proceed with saying now, well, we have to, the poor performance is due to a health issue that cannot be managed via reasonable adjustment. They could, in the example is, kung may cancer, that cancer patient, kung hindi na talaga kaya, and hindi na kayang mag-reasonable adjustment din yung employer, then they may be able to say, I'm so sorry, well, we'll have to let you go because we really can't. We've done all the reasonable adjustments that we have, and you have to, unfortunately, you're not mobile anymore, and we can't let you drive the car. So that's one case. So that's the reason why we can't sasabihin nila, the job is to drive, but you're not mobile anymore. So we're left with no choice. But or perhaps they might say, oh, we can offer you employment an employment in the admin department. So it's a case-to-case basis. That's the reason naman here that if you are up to a point na hindi the government will help. That's the reason why I asked ito ba ay PIP, personal independence payment claim, because that's a gap that the government might be able to assist with. Kung nawalan ka ng trabaho because of X, Y, and Z, because of certain diagnosis, certain disability, then perhaps that would be a way to supplement the income.
Okay, well, siguro okay na yan muna. Yan ang ating mga question for today, no? Mayroon pa ba tayong direct? Oh, yan na muna yan. Yan na muna. May pa-flash ka pa ba? Okay. All right. Bago tayo.
It
Ayan,
depends.
Miss, they can fire you.
It depends on the situation, Donna. It depends on what reasonable adjustments have they done. It depends on the case. It depends on who the employer is, their size, etc. Obviously, they can't just fire you straight away without. I think it would be unreasonable for them to not at all look at what reasonable adjustments that they can do. You also need to look at their policy for performance, kasi baka makita doon in terms, during sickness, this is our policy. So it really depends. It depends also on the evidence, the medical evidence. It depends on the weight of the medical evidence. It depends on what sort of reasonable adjustments they can provide and what, other perhaps alternative employment they can give you that would be a bit more in line with what you can do better, or hindi man ikaw, or what this hypothetical person can do better. So the straightforward action is, kung na ano na lahat ng reasonable adjustments at hindi na talaga kaya, as what I've said, my extreme example is, if they have gone through all of those reasonable consideration, if they have deliberated properly, if they have attached weight, if they've done their investigation. My classic example was that a person whose main job is to drive but cannot drive anymore, and wala na talagang ibang because of an accident na hindi naman kasalanan ng employer niya. So sasabihin ng korte, okay, did you do this? Did you try reasonable adjustment? Kung wala na talaga, they'll be left with no choice but to terminate. That's hindi yun na straight away terminate. Ang daming mga kailangang i-deliberate before you get to that point. But it could be a possibility in certain cases, as I've said. That one case is that the change in circumstances of one person and the health of one person rendered him absolutely unable to do his job. Hindi na makapag-drive. Kung kunwari na-amputate siya, hindi na talaga siya, dahil nagkaroon siya ng aksidente sa motorsiklo somewhere else on his spare time. And he came back and he would say, I'm so sorry, I wouldn't be able to do it anymore. I'm disabled. And the employer would say, well, we're so sorry as well. We can't offer you the driver's position anymore because, wala kaming reasonable adjustment na magawa. That's an example. That's an extreme example. So it depende sa kaso. Depende sa facts ng case.
Okay, well, salamat po sa pagsagot, Attorney Dana. Well, at least may natutunan tayo, hyperthyroidism, no? I
want to say thank you. It's a very good question. It's a very good question.
Yeah,
and sana that would also open up other questions potentially sa mga kababayan natin. Baka akala na, fire agad, hindi rin naman na, hindi talaga ako ma-fire. It doesn't work that way. Walang absolute na answer dyan. Because it depends on the circumstances of the case, it depends on the evidence, it depends on this beautiful beautiful favorite word of employment law, reasonable adjustment, reasonable, especially sa mga disability and then performance issue. Yun ang parating mo makikita na pattern na hinahanap ng korte. Did your employer make reasonable adjustment? And then the interpretation of that reasonable adjustment, pag-aawayan ng mga abogado.
Ayan, meron mga adjustments sa sa bathroom, sa kung medyo malapit-lapit. I don't know, no? Pero yeah, may adjustment, no? Anyway, attorney, okay yan. Maganda yung question na yun. At least with that question, nagtatapos tayo, wrap up tayo dito sa ating programa, no? So, attorney, baka meron kang mga shoutouts or how they can get in touch with you. Go right ahead, please, attorney.
Yes, they can contact me at dana.quinto@dbsolicitors.com. Or call me at 0123-422-5188. Again, dana.quinto@dbsolicitors.com or call me at 0123-422-5188. Minsan, if you can't catch me sa phone, email lang po kayo kasi minsan may kausap lang din ako sa other line or make a meeting. But I do try to get back to people. Then we'll organize Zoom chat or a telephone call na libre tayong dalawa. Minsan or always, if you're emailing, lagay niyo po yung case summary para alam natin, para mapreparahan ko ang pagsagot natin at mapreparahan ko yung Zoom call or a MS Teams meeting. But you contact me dahil as I say always, general lang po itong mga binibigay natin. Although katawaan yung truth or myth, we do like to help. Certain cases, katulad nung example today, certain cases really turn on its facts. Depende dun sa kung ano talaga yung nitty-gritty ng kaso mo. Depende sa ebidensya, depende sa kung ano ang mga statements, depende sa kung ano talaga ang nangyari sa isang particular case. So perhaps it is much better to seek independent legal advice. Kami man, or ako man, or other solicitors. I always say this, mas mainam po na kumuha kayo ng advice as early as possible. Kasi baka mas masolusyonan ng mas madaling solusyon if it's earlier.
Ayun. Okay. Right. Tama. Ayan. I forgot. I was about to say something, no. Yun lang, yung summary pala, ang summary lang, attorney, parang facts of the case ko, parang kwento lang, hindi naman, wala namang format yan. No?
Wala namang kung ano nangyari.
Problema ko, disability ba, pwede ka ba i-file, gano'n ko, or anything, ito yung case ko, ito yung ganyan, no. Kaaway ko yung kapitbahay ko, kaaway ko yung aking landlord, and so on and so forth, no. Basta, yun ang ibig sabihin ng case summary, yung may kwento. No, yung istorya.
Ano yung problema? Short summary kung ano yung para mabasa okay, ano pala to, family law o employment law pala to.
Kasi baka tanungin nila, ano kaya summary ng case summary ng sinasabi ni attorney? Pero yun lang siguro, basta yung kwento lang nung case mo, no? Para ma-identify ka agad at mas mabilis.
Mas mabilis.
Okay. Yep. Okay, well, I guess it's time for us to say goodbye. Maraming salamat once again, attorney, for the enlightenment, for the little quiz, little game that we did. Marami naman kami natutunan, no? At we're looking forward to another for next week, no? Kung ano naman kaya. Ngayon, may numbers. So tingnan natin, abangan natin kung ano naman ang quiz ni ating quiz mistress, no, si attorney Dana Quinto. Okay, I guess it's time for us to say goodbye sa ngalan mo, attorney, at sa ngalan ng ating direktor na siyempre responsible para sa ating maayos na transmission. Ito po si Sonny Laragan nagsasabing thank you very much sa inyong walang sawang pagsubaybay dito po sa Legal Advice Corner. We'll do it again next week for another Happy Tuesday event. So till then, take care, God bless, and good night. Bye.
Bye.